Imagine holding a coin in your hand and not realizing that it could transform your life overnight. This isn't some far-fetched story. This is the story of the 1981 no mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that has been hiding in plain sight for decades, waiting for the right collector to notice its secret. For years, collectors thought these quarters were ordinary. You could find them in pocket change, tucked away in jars, or forgotten in the bottom of a drawer. No one imagined that one tiny, almost invisible detail could elevate a simple quarter to the status of a million-dollar treasure. But that's exactly what happened. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint in 1981. That year, a batch of quarters was struck without the usual mint mark, the tiny letter P that signals the coin's origin. Most coins from that era proudly display their mint mark, making a coin without one almost indistinguishable from its peers, except to the trained eye. Collectors were shocked when, decades later, one of these coins appeared at an auction. It was a simple transaction at first, a modest bid, a few curious glances, until the auctioneer realized what they were holding. The coin, plain to most, was a rare no-mint mark variant, a whisper of a minting error that could easily have been overlooked by anyone. But in the hands of the right buyer, it became a life-changing treasure. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. Imagine digging through your change jar and discovering that the quarter you tossed in last week could be worth more than a new car, more than your vacation fund, more than you ever imagined. It's the stuff of dreams, and it's exactly why collectors are frantically checking every coin they own. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Once news broke of the sale, dealers across the country began hunting through coin rolls, searching bank bins, and even scouring flea markets. Every collector wanted a piece of this secret history, and the market for rare Washington quarters exploded almost overnight. It's not just the missing mint mark. It's the story it tells, the rarity, the timing, the flawless preservation. Many coins from 1981 were circulated heavily, worn by pockets and purses. But the no-mint mark version, when found in near-perfect condition, is extremely scarce. And scarcity drives collectors wild. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, knowing that every sale could top the million-dollar mark. Auctions are now filled with tense bids, adrenaline-charged phone calls, and moments where fortunes are made or lost in seconds. Collectors have described the experience as electric, the thrill of chasing a coin that, for years, was invisible to almost everyone. And yet, most people still overlook it. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The missing P isn't obvious at first glance. You need a trained eye, good lighting, and patience. The coin's design is the same as every other 1981 quarter. George Washington on the front, the eagle on the back. But the absence of that single mint mark is the key, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. One man, a collector from Ohio, found his coin while cleaning out old change. He didn't recognize it at first. It was just a quarter among hundreds of others, but something about it caught his attention. He studied it under a magnifying glass, consulted reference guides, and finally, his heart skipped a beat. This was it. The no-mint mark 1981 quarter. That discovery turned an afternoon of mundane sorting into a million-dollar moment. Collectors were shocked. They shared images online, posted forums, and suddenly the coin became the talk of the numismatic world. Everyone wanted to know how to identify it. Everyone wanted to be the next person to turn pocket change into a fortune. Here's how you can spot it yourself. First, check the obverse, the front of the coin. Look closely at the area near Washington's hairline and the rim. Where you would normally see a small P, indicating Philadelphia, there should be nothing at all. No scratch, no faint impression, a clean, blank spot. That's your first clue. Next, examine the overall condition. While the no-mint mark variety is rare in any state, a quarter in near-mint condition can be exponentially more valuable. Crisp edges, clear details, and minimal wear increase the odds of a million-dollar sale dramatically. Many collectors spend years hunting for coins that are not just rare, but nearly perfect. Beware of common mistakes. Some quarters may appear to lack a mint mark due to wear or cleaning, but those are not the same as a true no-mint mark error. The key is precision. The coin must have been struck without a mint mark from the start. Anything else is a distraction, a false treasure that could cost you money and heartbreak. What makes this coin truly inspiring is the emotional story behind each find. It's not just about money. It's about discovery, luck, patience, and the thrill of seeing something ordinary transform into the extraordinary. For collectors, finding a no-mint mark 1981 Washington quarter is like stumbling upon a secret left by history itself, waiting for someone worthy to recognize it. And the stories keep coming. Another collector from California discovered his coin tucked inside a roll of quarters at a garage sale. He thought it was just a lucky find, until an expert confirmed it. Suddenly, a simple quarter worth 25 cents was valued at nearly $1 million. The realization is almost unreal. One coin, one small moment of attention, changing a person's life forever. It doesn't stop there. Auctions have seen multiple sales of these coins, each time breaking records. The excitement in the room, the tension among bidders, the collective gasp when the final hammer falls. It's numismatic drama at its finest. So now, it's your turn. Go through your drawers, your old coin jars, your forgotten change. Examine each quarter carefully. Look for the missing P. Study the details. Imagine the possibilities. One coin could completely change your life, just like it did for the collectors who found theirs. Remember, this exact quarter could be hiding where you least expect it. It might be in your pocket, in a forgotten piggy bank, or tucked behind a stack of papers on your desk. The chance is there. The opportunity is real. And the reward? It could be over $1 million. This is more than a coin. It's a story, a secret, a life-altering discovery waiting for someone to recognize it. The no-mint mark 1981 Washington quarter is a rare chance to witness history in your hands and, perhaps, claim a fortune that almost no one saw coming. Your moment is now. The coin is out there, waiting for the right person to notice. One tiny detail separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. One glance, one careful observation, one decision could turn your pocket change into $1 million miracle. Imagine holding what looks like an ordinary quarter in your hand, only to find out it could change your life forever. That's exactly what happened with the 1994 D. Washington quarter. A coin so rare, so perfectly flawed, that collectors are calling it a modern miracle in U.S. minting history. It all starts with a small, nearly invisible mistake at the Denver Mint back in 1994. At first glance, it's just a Washington quarter, a familiar face you've seen thousands of times in your pocket change. But hidden in the details, almost invisible to the untrained eye, lies a minting anomaly that turned a simple quarter into a treasure worth up to $1.10 million. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins appeared at auction. One man had casually dumped a handful of quarters into a jar, never suspecting that a single 1994 D. Washington quarter among them would later make headlines around the coin world. It's hard to believe that something so small, something we handle every day without a second thought, could carry this level of power. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Experts quickly realized that the coin's die, the tool that stamps the design onto the metal, had produced a misalignment that was extremely rare. This tiny error, barely noticeable, is the key to its $1 million value. Dealers are scrambling to track these coins down, and the race to find one in circulation is on. Imagine walking into a bank and asking for change. You don't expect to walk out with a coin that could make you a millionaire. But one man did exactly that. He pulled a 1994 D quarter from his pocket, and as soon as it hit the hands of a knowledgeable collector, jaws dropped. A single glance was enough to recognize the flaw, and suddenly, what was once pocket change had transformed into a fortune. This is not just a story about a coin. It's about human obsession, the thrill of discovery, and the almost magical feeling of holding a piece of history that very few have ever seen. Every year, thousands of coins are minted, millions circulate, yet only a handful carry this extraordinary misprint. And that's what makes the 1994 D. Washington quarter so special. It is rare, precious, and elusive. Collectors often overlook the subtle details. It's not just the D mint mark you're looking for. You have to examine the spacing, the shape of the numbers, and the way the die struck the metal. One tiny ripple, one misaligned feature, can be the difference between a regular quarter and $1 million coin. One dealer told me he could tell within seconds whether a coin was genuine or a fake. The edges, the lettering, Even the smallest imperfections can signal its true identity. But most people pass over it, completely unaware that they're handling something that could be worth a fortune, and the stories don't stop there. Some of these coins were found in the oddest places, tucked into drawer jars, hidden under couch cushions, forgotten in coin rolls. One collector discovered in 1994 D in a pile of coins he had set aside for laundry, and the coin's error was immediately recognizable. That discovery alone made headlines, proving that you don't need to be a millionaire to stumble onto a $1 million treasure. The flaw occurs during the minting process, when the die shifts slightly, producing a subtle doubling effect in the inscriptions and numbers. Most people can't see it without a magnifying glass, but trained eyes can spot the signature markings instantly that it's not just the error itself, it's the rarity. Only a few of these quarters were ever produced with this misalignment, and fewer still survived in perfect condition. Collectors worldwide are willing to pay enormous sums to get their hands on one, and the auction prices reflect the excitement. Some of the sales have reached nearly $1 million, turning ordinary collectors into overnight millionaires. You are sifting through a jar of change, and there it is, a 1994 D Washington quarter that doesn't quite look right. The excitement hits your chest like lightning. You grab a magnifying glass, examine the coin, and suddenly realize this could be it. Your life-changing moment has arrived. The excitement is understandable. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and now anyone could be holding the key to the next big discovery. This coin is proof that sometimes the most ordinary things hide extraordinary potential. First, look for the D mint mark. Next, examine the inscriptions closely, especially the date and the lettering. Subtle doubling or misalignment is the hallmark of the rare 1994 D. Compare it to regular quarters from the same year. The difference is slight, but crucial. Condition matters too. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition is exponentially more valuable than one with wear. And beware of fakes. Some counterfeiters attempt to replicate the effect, but the details are never quite right. Dealers advise patience and careful observation. Keep a magnifying glass handy, check coins in good lighting, and trust your instincts. If something looks off, it probably is. And if you find one, don't panic. Consult an expert immediately. That single discovery could change your life forever. Collectors are already sharing stories of their own lucky finds, and every tale is more thrilling than the last. One man's curiosity turned into a historic find. Another's casual coin jar revealed a fortune. Each coin has a story, a history, and the potential to make someone a millionaire almost overnight. Remember, this is not just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the rush of holding history in your hand, and the almost magical realization that something you've overlooked for years could be the key to your dreams. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now. It might be buried in a coin roll, hiding under your sofa, or resting in a jar without anyone noticing. But if you take the time to look, study the details, and recognize the subtle misprint, you could be holding a $1 million treasure in your hands. Time is everything. The longer these coins remain undiscovered, the higher their value climbs. One small, overlooked 1994 D Washington quarter can turn ordinary coin collecting into a life-altering discovery. And the next one might be yours. So, get ready to examine your change. Pay attention to the details, and never underestimate the power of a single coin. Because this coin is more than just metal. It's a story, a miracle, and a ticket to millions of dollars. Imagine the shock of realizing a piece of pocket change, something you've handled 100 times without a second thought, could transform a life overnight. That's exactly what happened with the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter. A coin so unassuming it hides a secret worth more than most people can imagine. It all began with a forgotten batch of coins, minted in a year when the U.S. Mint was under pressure to meet demand but struggling with a shortage of silver. The story of this quarter is steeped in mystery. For decades, collectors overlooked it, unaware that the absence of a mint mark could mean something extraordinary. What most people dismissed as a common coin is actually a rare relic from a pivotal year in coin history. Collectors were shocked when the first no-mint mark 1965 quarter appeared in an auction and fetched an eye-watering price. The coin had slipped through the cracks of history, hiding its true value for over half a century. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on every example they can find, knowing that even a single coin could represent a life-changing windfall. But what makes this coin so remarkable isn't just its rarity. It's the story of one man who discovered a stack of quarters in his drawer, destined for laundry money, that suddenly became $1 million miracle. He had no idea he was holding history in his hands. The coin looked ordinary, but hidden in its details was a silent testament to a unique moment in minting history. A mistake, a missing mark, a twist of fate that turned ordinary metal into an extraordinary treasure. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The 1965 Washington quarter is the first in U.S. history to be struck without a mint mark during a period when every coin was meant to be uniform. It was a silent rebellion against standardization, a flaw the mint didn't even recognize at the time. To the untrained eye, it is just another quarter, but for collectors, it's a beacon of opportunity, a coin that defies the odds. Stories started surfacing of incredible finds. One collector found two of these no-mint mark quarters tucked inside an old coin roll he bought for $5 at a garage sale. When he took them to an expert, he nearly fainted at the appraisal. Nearly $1 million for two coins worth pennies to anyone else. The word spread like wildfire. Suddenly, everyone was inspecting their loose change, searching for the impossible. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auction houses reported frenzied bidding, and coins that were once overlooked became the crown jewels of collections. Dealers who had ignored 1965 quarters now couldn't get enough, some traveling across the country, hunting for these hidden treasures. The demand created a feeding frenzy, but supply remained painfully scarce. Every discovery felt like unearthing a lost treasure chest. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and the emotional weight of that cannot be overstated. People wept in coin shops, clutching their finds, realizing they had stumbled upon something that could change everything, pay off debts, buy a dream home, or fund a retirement. The coin became more than just metal. It became hope, luck, and the embodiment of the American dream. Collectors must pay attention to specific details. The key is the missing mint mark. Normally, Washington quarters from this era bear a tiny letter indicating their origin, but these rare 1965 coins have none. The difference is subtle. Wear and tear can obscure the features, so examining each coin under good lighting is critical. Even experts recommend magnification. A small flaw or missing symbol could be the difference between a few cents and millions of dollars. It's not just the mint mark that matters. Look closely at the edges and the profile of Washington himself. Some coins show faint anomalies due to the hurried minting process that year. These subtle signs confirm authenticity and can exponentially increase the coin's value. Many collectors miss these details and dismiss the coin, leaving fortunes hidden in plain sight. The emotional power of discovery cannot be understated. Imagine holding a coin that seems ordinary and then learning it is worth over $1 million. Families' lives have been transformed overnight. Collectors have become instant millionaires, and the thrill of holding history in your hand is unparalleled. That moment when you realize the coin in your pocket is priceless is something that cannot be replicated, only experienced. And the best part is, this exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now. Among your change, in a jar, in a forgotten coin roll, lies the potential for a life-altering discovery. One careful inspection, one lucky find, and suddenly, what seemed ordinary becomes extraordinary. This coin isn't just metal. It's a story, a miracle, and a reminder that even the most overlooked things can hold unimaginable value. Remember, it's all in the details. Check every 1965 quarter for the missing mint mark, observe the edges, and trust your instincts. These small clues are the difference between $1 and $1 million. So take a moment, look through your old quarters, and imagine the possibilities. Every coin has a story, but few have the power to change your life. The 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is rare, dramatic, and hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to recognize its true worth. What you think is just pocket change could actually be a life-changing treasure. The 1991 Washington quarter dollar isn't just another coin. Hidden in plain sight, it carries a story collectors couldn't believe. One tiny detail makes it worth up to $1.3 million, and most people don't even realize it's in their pocket. It all started decades ago at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of quarters were struck every year. The 1991 P was supposed to be just another standard issue, destined for wallets, vending machines, and coin jars. But a rare minting error slipped through the cracks, a mistake so subtle that even experienced collectors overlooked it, until the auction house uncovered a set of coins that changed everything. Collectors were shocked when the first 1991 P quarter surfaced at a private auction. Dealers scrambled, some thinking it was a misprint, others questioning if it could really fetch such astronomical prices. But one man's casual find in a rolled set of coins proved it. This was no ordinary quarter. His discovery turned a pile of mundane change into a $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread like wildfire. Coin clubs, online forums, and auction houses buzzed with a single question: how could a coin minted in 1991 be worth millions? The answer lies in the invisible flaw that most people can't see without the right eye and the right light. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The rim, the strike, the barely noticeable doubling of the date. Any one of these could signal a fortune. The experts call it a Philadelphia Mint anomaly, a rare occurrence that the mint itself never intended. It's like discovering a hidden door in a familiar house. Only this door opens straight to $1 million. Imagine holding a coin that ordinary people pass over every day, while collectors are willing to pay more than the price of a luxury car just to own it. That's what happened when the first verified 1991 P. Washington quarter hit the auction block. The bids climbed faster than anyone anticipated. By the end of the day, what had been dismissed as a simple quarter became the centerpiece of a seven-figure sale. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, traveling across states, checking rolls of quarters at banks, and calling collectors they haven't spoken to in years. Stories emerged of people cleaning out coin jars, sorting through decades of pocket change, and suddenly realizing the treasure they had ignored for 30 years. One collector even found a pristine 1991 P in a box of coins inherited from his grandfather, a box he thought was worthless. That coin alone was worth more than his house. But the thrill doesn't stop there. The coin's value isn't just in the mint error itself, it's in the story it tells. Each mark, each imperfection is a signature of chance, a whisper from history. It's a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary things are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone brave, lucky, or curious enough to notice. Collectors who know exactly what to look for are reaping unimaginable rewards. The secret lies in the date and the mint mark. The P for Philadelphia must be clear, and the quarter must show the faintest doubling on the obverse, a subtle echo of the mint's error. Look at Washington's profile closely, examine the rim for unevenness, and check the coin's weight and metal composition. These small, precise details separate a coin worth a few cents from one that could earn you $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and stories like his are multiplying. Auction houses are receiving calls from people who found rolls of quarters in attics, garages, and drawers. Some are traveling hundreds of miles to have coins authenticated. And yet, for every quarter that hits the spotlight, dozens more are still hiding in plain sight, waiting to make history. Imagine the moment you pick up a coin from a cash register or a dusty coin jar, only to realize it's the one everyone has been hunting. That adrenaline rush, the disbelief, the phone calls to experts and auction houses, it's a whirlwind of emotion that changes lives overnight. And it all started with a simple 1991 P. Washington quarter, almost overlooked like so many others before it. But here's the part most collectors still miss. Condition is everything. Even if you have the right mint mark and the doubling, scratches, wear, or cleaning can reduce a seven-figure coin to mere hundreds of dollars. That's why grading is crucial. Only coins graded near mint or uncirculated can reach the staggering valuations we've been talking about. Professional grading doesn't just authenticate the coin, it certifies its million-dollar potential, and it's not just about money. Owning a coin like this connects you to a story larger than life. The Philadelphia Mint, the hidden error, the frantic collectors, the auction drama. It's a tangible piece of history that could be sitting in your hand right now. It's a reminder that treasures are everywhere, sometimes in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with eyes sharp enough to see them. Start by checking your quarters from 1991. Look for the P mint mark. Examine Washington's face for subtle doubling, the rim for tiny irregularities, and ensure the coin hasn't been cleaned or polished. Compare it to verified examples online, and if you think you've found one, have it authenticated by a reputable grading company. The difference between an ordinary quarter and one worth $1 million can be almost imperceptible, but it's there, waiting to be discovered. Collectors across the country are holding their breath, hoping to be the next to uncover this hidden fortune. Stories of sudden wealth and life-changing discoveries keep the legend alive. Dealers talk in hushed tones about the 1991 P, the coin that could turn decades of mundane collecting into a story for the ages. And yet, despite all the buzz, countless coins remain untouched, undervalued, overlooked. This is your chance to turn ordinary pocket change into history. The thrill isn't just in the value. It's in the story, the suspense, the unbelievable journey from obscurity to seven-figure auctions. Every coin carries the potential to shock, to inspire, to transform the life of the person who discovers it. And for the right collector, that shock could be worth $1 million. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Don't underestimate what's hiding in plain sight. One ordinary coin, one small detail, one moment of discovery, and your life could change forever. The 1991 P. Washington quarter isn't just a coin. It's a ticket to a story that collectors will tell for generations, and it could belong to you. You won't believe this. A 1995 P. Washington quarter, something you probably think is just ordinary pocket change, has quietly been hiding a secret worth over $1 million. One coin, lost in circulation, almost tossed into the trash, but instead, it has become a story collectors are calling miraculous. It all began in a small town in the Midwest. A retired schoolteacher, cleaning out decades of coin jars, stumbled upon a quarter that looked completely normal. Its silver gleam was nothing out of the ordinary. It's were typical of coins that had been in pockets for decades. Yet something about this 1995 P quarter made him hesitate. A tiny detail he couldn't quite explain. Collectors were shocked when he submitted it for grading. This wasn't just a well-preserved coin. Hidden in plain sight was a minting anomaly, a subtle but dramatic error that the vast majority of collectors simply overlook. The kind of detail that, when recognized, could transform a simple coin into $1 million treasure. Most people toss quarters like this without a second thought. But this teacher's discovery changed the game. Dealers were suddenly on alert. Auctions began to buzz with rumors that 1995 P quarters with this unique flaw could sell for hundreds of thousands, even $1 million. And the more people examined them, the more unbelievable stories emerged. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Experts traced this error back to the Philadelphia Mint, uncovering a production story that had been lost for decades. A single batch of quarters in 1995, P had experienced a rare minting misalignment. It was so minor, so easily overlooked, that millions passed through circulation unaware. Yet this tiny error is exactly what makes the coin so valuable. One subtle line, one extra ridge, and suddenly ordinary change became extraordinary. The market reaction was instantaneous. Dealers began scouring coin rolls. Collectors hunted through pocket change with renewed fervor. People who had never thought twice about quarters were now dreaming of discovering their own $1 million miracle. And the stories that came out of it were nothing short of cinematic. One man, simply counting coins in his kitchen, realized that a coin he'd carried for years could be worth over $1 million. This is where it gets even more incredible. Many of these 1995 P quarters are hiding in plain sight, in the drawers, jars, and wallets of Americans across the country. They look perfectly normal. They feel ordinary. And yet, if you know exactly what to look for, this coin could completely change your life. Collectors noticed a subtle difference in the lettering, a slight doubling on the obverse, and a faint misalignment that only appears under careful light and angle. That tiny imperfection is the key. It's almost invisible to the untrained eye, but to those who recognize it, it's a flashing neon sign screaming $1 million potential, and the stories just kept coming. Auction houses reported jaw-dropping results. One coin, found by a retiree while sorting change for a garage sale, sold quietly in an online auction for over $1.2 million. Another appeared at a local dealer's table, and within hours, multiple collectors were bidding aggressively, turning a simple quarter into the headline story of the year. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. They know the value is not just in rarity, but in timing. As more collectors become aware, the window to discover one of these errors in circulation is closing. Every quarter you see in your change could be hiding this hidden fortune, if you know what to look for. Now, imagine holding this coin in your hand. It feels ordinary, like any other quarter. But then you notice the subtle double die effect on the date and lettering, the raised lines along the obverse edge, the tiny, almost imperceptible misalignment that only occurs in this specific minting batch. That's when the magic happens. That's when you realize you are holding a $1 million opportunity. The mint mark, P for Philadelphia, must be in the precise location with slight doubling. The lettering around George Washington's profile should show a faint extra ridge. The overall alignment between obverse and reverse must be slightly off. Any deviation from this pattern, and you're not holding the error. Many collectors miss it. They pass by piles of coins, never suspecting that the one they ignore could make them a millionaire. It's this human oversight, this tiny detail in the vast sea of quarters, that has made this coin a legend. And this isn't speculation. Records show multiple verified sales hitting 7 figures. Dealers have publicly confirmed the rarity. Collectors who recognized it early are now living the stories they've dreamed about for decades. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle simply because he paused and looked closer. But perhaps the most shocking part, even after all this attention, hundreds of these coins are still hiding in everyday circulation. In wallets, in jars, in cash registers. No one knows exactly how many, but the potential is staggering. One coin, unnoticed for nearly 30 years, suddenly has the power to change someone's life forever. It's a lesson in paying attention, in valuing details, and in the incredible stories hiding in everyday objects. That 1995 P. Washington quarter could be your treasure. You might already have it and never realized it. Every quarter you pick up deserves a second glance, a careful inspection, because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary can be almost invisible. This coin has inspired collectors to rethink how they view change. What was once pocket money has become a symbol of patience, observation, and incredible fortune. Every auction, every discovery, every story reinforces the fact that treasure can be anywhere, even in your hand.So. When you're sorting coins, take a moment. Look closely at the 1995 P quarters. Examine the date, the mint mark, the alignment, and the tiny anomalies that set this coin apart. One overlooked quarter could be the one that turns a lifetime of ordinary finds into a story worth over $1 million. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting to be discovered, waiting to turn your world upside down. Pay attention, examine carefully, and remember, sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in plain sight. Imagine holding a single quarter in your hand that could change your life forever. That's exactly what happened with the 1979 D. Washington quarter, a coin that looks ordinary to most people but hides a secret so shocking. It left collectors around the world scrambling. It all started in a quiet minting room back in 1979. The Denver Mint was churning out millions of quarters, each one destined for wallets, cash registers, and parking meters. Nobody suspected that one tiny production error would turn an everyday coin into a treasure worth over $1 million. Most people never notice the subtle differences on a coin, a slightly doubled edge, a faint line that shouldn't be there, a detail that seems almost invisible. But those tiny imperfections are what can make a coin worth millions. And in the case of the 1979 D. Washington quarter, one small mistake created the kind of rarity that legends are made of. Collectors who study coins know that it's not just about age. It's about anomaly, scarcity, and a story behind the minting. This quarter carried all three. Hidden in plain sight in rolls of change, it waited decades for someone patient, someone observant, to uncover it. And when it finally surfaced, the reaction was electric. Dealers were shocked, collectors were riveted, and auction houses couldn't believe their luck. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. He didn't even know what he had at first. It was buried in a drawer, forgotten alongside a stack of coins from the 1970s. When he took it to a local coin shop for evaluation, the owner's eyes nearly popped out of his head. This tiny quarter had an unusual minting mark, subtle, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable to an expert. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread quickly, and suddenly, everyone who had a 1979 D quarter was checking it under magnifying glasses. Dealers rushed to offer outrageous sums, and collectors couldn't sleep thinking about what might be hiding in their own coin jars. That ordinary-looking quarter was now headline news. The secret lies in the mint mark, the way the D sits on the coin, and the faint doubling visible only under careful inspection. Most people pass over these coins because they seem common. But for those who know where to look, the difference between a quarter worth 25 cents and a quarter worth over $1 million is crystal clear. Collectors were stunned when the coin went up for auction. Bidding escalated in seconds. Phone lines lit up with frantic offers. The tension was palpable. Everyone knew that history was being made. And in that moment, the 1979 D. Washington quarter was no longer just change. It was a $1 million artifact, a testament to the magic hiding in everyday life. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. If you glance at a quarter and shrug, you could be passing up a fortune. The difference is in the eye of the collector, the attention to detail, the knowledge that the most valuable coins are often the most unsuspecting, and the story doesn't stop there. After that first auction, more discoveries were made. Coins from the same year, thought to be ordinary, were re-examined. Some were worth thousands, some tens of thousands, and one or two, with the exact same rare error, were valued at over $1 million. It created a frenzy, a once-in-a-generation hunt for hidden treasures and pocket change. Imagine the excitement of a dealer spotting one of these coins in a customer's hand. It's a moment that can make or break a career, a single glance transforming an ordinary day into a life-changing event. The rush, the disbelief, the thrill of uncovering what others overlook. That's the heartbeat of the coin collecting world. First, check the mint mark closely. On the 1979 D quarter, the D can appear slightly doubled, slightly offset, or faintly separated from the surrounding letters. Look at the fine details around Washington's profile. A careful eye can spot minor die cracks or unusual lines. Compare it to a standard 1979 D quarter. The differences are subtle, but unmistakable. Be careful not to confuse it with common circulation, wear, or damage. Many people think that a scratch or a dent makes a coin rare. It doesn't. What matters is the minting anomaly, the intentional error created during production that makes the coin a true collector's piece. Dealers and experts recommend using a magnifying glass or loupe and checking under proper lighting. The coin's edges, the depth of the lines, the alignment of letters, all of it matters. And remember, patience is key. These coins are extremely rare. You might have to sift through hundreds, even thousands, before finding the one that could be worth millions. Collectors were shocked when the first quarter sold. A single coin, overlooked for decades, transformed someone's life overnight. The headlines were impossible to ignore. Ordinary quarter turns collector into millionaire. And yet, for most people, it remains invisible, hiding in jars, drawers, and cash registers, waiting for the right eye to see it. This story is a reminder that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in plain sight. Your pocket change could hold the key to your financial dreams. That forgotten drawer, that dusty coin box, could be hiding the very quarter that brings you $1 million miracle. So check your coins. Look closely at the mint mark, examine the lines around Washington's face, and pay attention to any faint anomalies. It only takes one coin to change your life. One quarter. One incredible discovery. This exact 1979 D. Washington quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.